pretty awesome.
Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to our mystical journey through Egypt that we get to share with you. The reason that I want to introduce Carolina is because she won't do a very good job at it, and I need to do it for her.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So the night before we went to Egypt, I was guided down a rabbit hole and ended up, and there were so many twists and turns that got me there. It was just like, couldn't have been more guided. But I landed on an Instagram page by a woman recommended by a person on Threads who had put a comment on my page. And it was so many things. And the woman was talking about something that I have had guidance for 2 years, that Carolina was the consort of Thoth, that her vibrational resonance was the consort of Thoth. And I don't know, for all the research that both of us do, little nerds that we are, we never looked up the consort of Thoth. I don't know what it was totally shrouded. And the night before we took off for Egypt, I got put through all this little tunnels and twists and turns to discover this post that was about Thoth and his consort Seshat. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's a real thing. Like, why didn't we look this up? And I'm reading it. I'm like, I'm sending it to her on Instagram. And then I realized she never looks at her DMs. So then I sent it to her on text message. And I was writing, I think you may be. And then I got like loud guidance. It was like, erase that and just write, you are Seshat. So I listened to guidance because I've learned the hard way, not that if I don't, it's not a good idea. So I wrote you, period, R, period, Seshat, period, pointing above, and then left it at that. She goes on to a session with Mary, her intuitive, and Mary's like, yes, I'm getting that you are Seshat. So without like telling her anything. So we, during the journey in Egypt, discover, and Carolina gets the initiations that stop her from second guessing all of her power that we are all showing up here for, that she somehow doesn't have a clue about. And we got to experience this wonderful, powerful, once scribe, holds the harmonic balance for humanity energy of this beautiful goddess, and coming through Carolina. And so this is why I'm introducing you, obviously, because you would have done a terrible job at saying any of this, and everyone needed to actually have the real information. So everybody, welcome to Carolina Seshat Carolina. You're welcome.
Okay, so this was so very strange and crazy. So I'm sitting with Mary and I'm thinking, and I had made an appointment with Mary, and it was like the day before. And I was like, oh, am I gonna, I said, oh, is this something I should do? I just felt, and then AnnaLynne had, texted Seshat. And I just want to, before we start, I just want to share you a little bit about who she is, this goddess of Egypt. Can you guys see the screen here, or did I do too many? Okay, so this is what she looks like, or that, can you see her? And this is how she's actually depicted as well on the walls in many places. And she's wearing a leopard outfit. She has a 7-pointed star or papyrus plant on top of her head. She holds this stick and she's actually writing. She's the one that remembers, and AnnaLynne, fill me in.
I was like, so here you see her with a 5-point star. So she'll have a 5-pointed or a 7-pointed pattern on her head. She was the cords, like the cord measure. So the stretching of the cord was like a huge part of a pharaoh's initiation into the role of the king. And it was all about these sacred measurements, which it had to do with obviously all the geometries that were being infused into the ancient Egyptian architecture. And the stretching of the cord was always about the different sacred measurements. And this was a big part of Seshat's job, was infusing that. She worked specifically with the pharaohs for documentation.
Okay. I have to interrupt.
Yes, tell us.
this picture hung in, a picture of this hung in my grandparents' house.
Oh my God.
And I was always drawn to it. And I just was always drawn to it. I just thought it was so cool. And it was really exotic for it to be in Weslaco, Texas in the 1960s.
Yes.
So I'm gonna now, but that explains a lot.
Oh my God.
So that explains a lot. Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted, but I'm coming out of my
So
skin.
you've been looking for Carolina for a long time.
Oh my God. And that's why we were always like that. I was like, we should do that. We should do that. We always have had that connection, Rosemary. Very, 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 very interesting. So just wanted to, so she's like this big time. She's like a woman that is well respected, and she knows everything about math, about writing. She even invented the language of writing. And and then architecture. And I had like this interesting visions before we went. Like I was like underground, and I could see like all these dimensions and the structures underneath the plateau of Giza. I didn't know what it was at the time, but then I got the confirmation that that's how it is, because obviously I know how that whole structure is built. So, I mean, there's like so much crazy stuff. She is, you know, a writer. She's into astrology. She uses the netters. She's a netter herself. A netter is those. Remember how I was like, there's the netters. And when whoever did my shaman class, the first one about the earth, is all about the netters. And, you know, and I am a netter from that life, right? So all the memories are coming back. I also had a vision. Well, we have to take it step by step. But anyway, it was just so weird. I want to play for you what Mary said as I interviewed her. Are you guys interested in that?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So let's see what she says.
It's distorted.
Is it distorted?
Yeah.
Okay,
I looked her up, and she had.
Okay, hold on.
It's better when you take it back the way where you're holding it now.
Like here?
Yeah.
I can put the microphone in and see. You want me to plug in the microphone and see if it works better like that?
Well,
Okay,
that was whatever you were doing just now.
so, yeah, okay. Thank you for letting me know, because I can't hear what you guys can hear. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just do this. Okay, now let's see. Okay, so
information from the higher consciousness down, and her name was Seshat, Seshat.
And what's the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Is I do have a resemblance or a connection to the goddess Seshat. She was also a scribe.
Absolutely.
Okay, and will I remember some of the gifts as I go to Egypt? Okay, and she was a mystic, but she was a woman, and she wore leopard dress or something.
Yeah, leopard skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How?
You are her. That's what my friend said. Yeah, you see, you are.
they say you are her. I was like, what? How does that even work? Did you hear that? Because I didn't want to say it. I was like walking around the bush, because I was like, okay, maybe have some resemblance, maybe have some aspects. They're like, no. They're saying you're her. I'm like, how could, and I still don't understand it. So, but I understand that there was some powerful lady with many gifts. Okay. And so interesting that her picture was there. So it was just like, what is happening? Okay. So we fly to Egypt. First we stop at, of course, here we stop at
Paris.
Paris, and we had a layover there. see. I'm gonna show many pictures. Hope I'm going. Oh, that was the wrong way. Don't look. Don't get dizzy. Okay, that's my yoga pictures. I must say, you have to. Oh, there's Seshat, the goddess of wisdom, astrology, mathematics, architecture, and astronomy. Writing. The open door. Oh, okay, something like that. And here's the shot and the pharaoh. So I was researching those things there. Can you guys see this at all, or does it look weird?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Anyway, so we were there. There we are at the airport.
We
And
were so tired.
yeah, we were so tired. A 6-hour layover there, but it was just so magical. Just even being there. And there's AnnaLynne, and everybody came up. Yeah, and there's our guide Robbie, and hopefully he'll come to Egypt with us one day. And we learned that Habibi means darling, so we kept calling each other. We calling ourselves darling, darling, darling. So, anyways, and then this is the beautiful airport in Cairo, and we got our fancy stamps of Egypt. And this is the hotel where we stayed. It's called the Mina 5-star hotel. And this is the night we come, and you can see there at the background is the Grand Pyramid. So this is what it looks like when you get in there. The energy from the pyramid, it's so powerful. It's all about this negative green energy. It's very, very, very strong. This is the beautiful room. And here are the girls in the morning. And we met then Robbie for the first time. Here we are. And we got a card, a very special card. And this was my card. I don't have a picture of AnnaLynne's card, but it was like, okay, I can read what my card was. It said, Asa here means completely present in space. It is fully materialized, fully visible. Ahasa here is the most outward and the most manifest. There is no otherness with which it could be in relationship. Like the sun at its height, it is so evident, so bright, that you may not even notice its existence. Allah's quality of the being most manifest is hidden in plain view. Oh my God, I think this has to do with me being Seshat. Asa here could be considered along with Ya'awal and other those cards. Anyway, so that was the card. And we had amazing Egyptian breakfast, which is a lot of falafels and these very, very nice bread. Maybe you can tell me about the baking of the bread, AnnaLynne.
We'll do that when we get to the pictures.
Yeah. Okay, and we had this beautiful minibus with continuous air conditioning. It is so hot there. It's like beyond hot. So we had like wet towels and bubbly water, other water. We had little chocolates with dates. And then, so we went to the old museum. That was our first visit, right, AnnaLynne?
The Royal Museum. Yeah, that was built like 1950s.
Yeah, in the 1950s. And then we saw this guy.
You might want to just make him big, like double click that one and zoom in.
Ah, there we go. Thank you. Okay, can you see the energy of this? What's his name again?
This is Akhenaten. He was one of the pharaohs that was everything he did was destroyed. They called him the heretic because he actually cut out the priesthood when the priesthood had become a bit corrupt, selling sacrifices to sacrifice, but not really doing the sacrifices and making money off the people. He wanted to go back to a monotheistic belief system, and he moved away from the areas that that the pharaohs were living in at that time and create a whole new city, and they tried to destroy his city. But his memory actually has become legendary because they tried to destroy him. But he looks very different, which is why the picture.
Yeah, look at the picture. Look what he looks like.
Look at his body and his face. He's a very interesting aesthetic.
Yeah, he looks like a total alien.
That's what I was getting at.
Exactly. I was like, I'm sensing some alien vibes here.
Yeah. You know,
I literally could not look into the statue's eyes. At first I had to keep inching my eyes closer and closer, but every time I would go to look in the eyes, like my whole face would just like start like twitching. And finally I was able to look into his eyes, and I started asking like, you know, can I have whatever codes or any updates or upgrades or anything, downloads? And I got so much energy from it, but I literally couldn't look. Our guide was talking to us, and Carolina was trying to be kind and engaging, and I'm looking behind both of them at this statue. I can't take my eyes off. I'm like, sorry, I'm listening to y'all, but I can't look at you because this is way too intense. And it was like, there's so much encoded in these statues. And so that's why the experience of being there is so, no photograph will ever do justice this country. It's like unfathomable, the vibration you feel while experiencing things. So you really intentionally want to talk to every monument, every statue, every item, every stone, everything you come into contact with. You want to just get really quiet, and you want to talk to it and see what comes, because stuff is imprinted and intentionally encoded by these amazing humans, if they're actually human, from that time. And what was really wonderful about Robbie is he's really tapped in. So he comes from a like 3 generations of Egyptologists and studiers of chematology. So the difference is that one will lie to you and the other will tell you the truth, basically. But chematologists are trained in not only Egyptology, but archaeoastronomy and geology. So the reason that that's so important, yeah, you understand, Rosemary, the reason that's so important is that Egyptologists are like math teachers who try to teach English to you. And you're like, okay, so the numbers of English, I'm like, what are you doing? No, like that's not how it works. Like, or it's probably more like reverse. English teachers trying to teach math.
It's kind of like going to school and doing the school books, and they're just like say facts, but nothing is true, and you don't even understand where it's coming from.
Well, it's the problem is that their baseline for the facts lack the other information. So because they are the experts, they'll discount other individuals who have degrees. For example, an archaeologist knows nothing about water weathering because they didn't study geology. Geology is going to tell you what weathering on a stone means and how that. So an archaeologist has no business speaking to that, but they will literally tell geologists who get degrees in geology that they're wrong. So the beautiful thing about having a chematologist as the individual doing the guide is so that you actually get the accurate information based not only on the archaeological find, but where the stars were at the time of the monuments being built due to the archaeoastronomy that they studied, and what those monuments, the weathering that they have, the details are in the fineness of those little lines. So we got to really be educated on what Egyptologists say, and here's the truth.
Yeah, so it was really fun. Yeah, it was so fantastic. And we also have the intuit. He was very intuitive. So listen, before you enter or do anything, just really connect with your heart, and you have to. And another thing that Robbie also said, because we had to meet with him on Zoom before, because he said the energy of Egypt is not
to be underestimated.
Yeah, it's not to be underestimated. It's very powerful, and it was very powerful. Like
every call, he probably said it 5 times before we actually got there, and we got on the ground. He said again, do not underestimate the energy of this country when you come here. Like it was like a gatekeeper warning energy of like, you need to. And he prepared our schedule in such a way that we had blocks of integration, which we deeply needed, because it was for anyone who's a light worker. Obviously, if you're coming there as a tourist, you have the matrix to protect you, but we don't have that protection because we're wide open. And that energy, the next day we went to the pyramid. So we when we got there, he stopped, he like asked permission to step into the sacred site. He was very intentional about everything. And that part was really important. But the energy around the pyramid, in the pyramid, all of that was like, we needed major integration from that.
So did you guys have to, did he tell you or recommend anything to prepare yourself to go even before you set foot in Egypt as a light worker?
He definitely like his warnings activated our intuition on what we needed.
Yeah,
so he's trained in Sufism. That's his spirituality. So he's very much like, each individual knows the wisdom of their own path. So he's very supportive of you tapping into yourself. But he did offer, just advice on anything that we had questions on, but definitely while we were there, that when we were there, to prepare to integrate after each major site, because that they were going to require that essentially.
Yeah.
I have a question. How did it feel? 2 questions. How did it feel in your body? Like, were you?
We're going to talk. We're going to talk.
Okay. Was it like ascension
right
symptoms or?
Oh yeah.
Or something like that. And the second question, is there anything that's happened, to you as a light worker, as a spiritual teacher, that is similar? You know what I mean?
Oh, so we can explain the feeling. Okay.
A little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was, just like AnnaLynne said, we'll just to kind of wrap it up on the first of all, hi Cindy, and then wrapping it up at the Royal Museum when we saw Akhenaten. I say it wrong. Akhenaten. I jumped up and I said, "Oh my God, look at that!" And she is like, "Oh!" It was like, "Oh!" It was like that. So that was just in the museum. It was so powerful. It was incredible, and all the artifacts are insane. Okay, so the first day we did like 500 million things. The second day,
Robbie was trying to help us adjust as quickly as possible to the time, so he kept us awake like little kids, and we're like, we're so tired. He's like, you have other things to do. Come on, get in the van. And we're like,
including, yeah.
He's amazing, very intuitive. He took us that night. We went to a really ancient traditional drumming circle type of thing, where they did all this healing music, drums, singing, and it was a very small but
I will show you that boutique
really,
area.
really powerful.
And we went on the Nile. And we went to some restaurants. This is all what we did the first day. Which is all
lovely and fun. And but what's more interesting will be the pyramids. So
the pyramids. So we're gonna fast forward to the pyramids. So this is us having fun and chocolate. AnnaLynne, we must play this.
I was so tired. No, oh God, here we go. Oh no. I was really tired and wanted chocolate.
Funny. I don't know if it's gonna play here. I don't think it's gonna
play. Good, it's not meant to. No.
Sorry.
Oh, we're in the chocolate lounge.
She's saying, if I don't have chocolate, I'm not going to go anywhere with you tomorrow.
Exactly. I was like dying for chocolate. I needed sugar. Okay, good. You can't hear it. Next slide. Thank you. Moving on. I was so delirious.
We were so delirious. It was so fun. Anyway, so we had that. So first day we walked around the pyramid. Okay. And we didn't go in. We just, here's the music thing.
The top of the day, at the beginning of the day, we went around.
Yeah, at the beginning of the day. And this was that dancer lady. So this was like local music. It was basically energy from the northern part of Egypt, and the music just kind of built up, and it was kind of like ecstasy. And then it was the next singer, and my God, this woman, she could sing and move, and she gave us initiations big time. She was powerful. She had like black lipstick. She was so charming. I will play the video, so it's another part. Oh no, here's Tanakin. Oh, here's a beautiful girl. She got gifts. It was her birthday too. Okay, so this is the pyramid, and then the first day we walk around the pyramid. Okay, this is the mosque. This is is this the first day or second day we did the mosque?
The first day we did the mosque. But,
Yeah, and this, yeah.
I think these are all out of order.
Yeah, they're out of order now. Yeah.
I think like as far as for light workers, what's really going to be interesting is this experience that we had at the pyramid first, and how it set the tone for what would then begin to unveil the rest of the trip. So when we arrived, we took a moment. We were the first ones there because Robbie's really good at that. There was no one really there when we arrived. We took a moment to kind of, I mean, when you're walking up to that pyramid, visually, sure, you're in awe, but you're getting hit with so much vibrational resonance. Every one of those stones, as you can see, they're like, I'm like, you could stuff like 5 of me into one of them. How
about 500?
every one of those stones is anywhere from 4,000 to 15,000 pounds of limestone that contains electrical output. So the insulator, you can see in the middle pyramid at the top that there's a flat layer, a flat face. That outside is a different type of limestone that acts as an insulator, but most of it's gone. It's gone off the Great Pyramid. It's mostly gone off of all the other pyramids. So we were experiencing a greatly reduced amount of energy, and we were inundated with energy. The limestone that each block is built with has so much vibrational resonance that just one of them, you would have felt something energetically. There's 2.3 million of them in the Great Pyramid. 2.3 million stones that are anywhere from 4 to 15, 16,000 pounds. They are holding so much energy, and they're sitting on top of a plateau that pre-existed and had stuff built before. So it's coming up. Like what you feel when you get there is this wobbly energy from the base up. So it's hitting you at the earth chakra, up your body, and all the way through you. So, and it's like wave patterning. I mean, when we went into the pyramid,
Let's just talk about what happened first.
Yeah,
okay.
But I had to regulate my system, like in order to like fully go. So that's how intense the energy is. On the outside, we were okay, but we were really quiet because our bodies were adjusting and we were taking it all in. Yeah. But it was also like, in order to just be there, it's not just a reverence that like you have intentionally, your cells are reverent to this space, which is really remarkable to experience.
Yeah. And I saw like, it was like light waves rising up, coming up like this outside the pyramid the whole time. It was like it looked like silver glittering coming up like this.
It kind of feels like you're glitching the matrix hard.
Yeah,
like it looks like you're like warping.
You're glitching. Like every second you're glitching. It's like, so we went to the hotel room before we went in, and we were like, okay, we're going to do a little ceremony. And I'm like there calling in everybody. I put my hand like this. She's standing in front of me. So I'm calling in, and I just take AnnaLynne, I just go like that. And it's like, I opened my eyes, she wasn't there. And then she clicked back. She clicked out of my reality and back in. And then she's like, oh, I went somewhere. And that's how it first began. This is in the hotel room.
I literally, my first thought was, oh, Carolina's here. And obviously Carolina's here. We just flew to Egypt together. Why did I say that? And it was this strange thing. And where I blipped to, by the way, Washington, D.C.
Oh my God.
At the obelisk in Washington, D.C. That's where I was for a millisecond. And I was fully there. And then I was so confused as to why Carolina was standing in front of me. And then I was in a hotel room. And then my memory came back. It was like, it all happened in literally a half of a millisecond.
Yeah.
But it was like, but she picked up on it because I blipped out. And then what brought me back was she said, you're gone.
I was like, oh my God, you went away and came back. I was like, what the freak is happening? So, you know, since we have done, all of us here, so much meditation, so many things, you know, it helps us. Let's just take a moment and hold a little space for Cindy, because her mom fell. So she's they're waiting for the doctor. So let's just take a moment and just take a couple of breaths. And I'm going to ask her to turn her camera off also. But let's just take a couple of breaths. Inhale, exhale. And we ask to send energy to Cindy and to Cindy's mom and to Cindy's husband. Okay, and we're just going to push energy towards Cindy, Cindy's mom, Cindy's husband. The highest love and light for fast recovery. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Okay, Cindy, if you hear me, just shut the camera off, please. We're continuing to hold space for you. And when you sit still, you can turn the camera on. Thank you. I love you so much. Okay. All right. So that happened. And then we went to walk around it. We came home. We had dinner like in the middle of, we walked across the Sahara Desert to some restaurant. I mean, it wasn't that long, but it was the energy underneath the sand. Walking to that restaurant was like insane. And there came like the camels walking. AnnaLynne, we have to have like a in-person kind of viewing, because the way she filmed it with her phone, like in, I don't know what that thing was.
4K.
4K, you know, it looked like a freaking movie. She has the best. By the way, if you like the pictures, I think AnnaLynne took most of them and they're freaking fabulous. Anyway, so we had a lunch there. We went back and we were just tired. We were like blazed. The heat came on. All of a sudden it's like, you know, maybe 70. Then all of a sudden it's 120 degrees. The sun just came over the pyramid and it was like blazing. So very much, you know, you have to very respect the temperature. You have to respect the vibration of the land. You have to really respect yourself there. And you have to eat, you know, we were eating like all the time, just wonderful local foods, lots and lots of water, which was amazing. We go home and we take a nappy. I have a major download. Like, I am not really channeled in that way, but I was laying down in bed and the label was like out. And there was so much energy in that room. I think that room must have been like, because we didn't face the pyramid, we had the pyramid on the side. And I think that was perfectly, we could just go out on the balcony and see the pyramid was right there. But that might have been like too much even to sleep. The room we had was so charged. And I think it was specially picked for us, obviously, must have been, otherwise it was like gorgeous. I fall asleep and I have this vision, like all of a sudden my mouth starts to speak some crazy language, which we now found out that was ancient Egyptian language. I felt like there were the matrix code, you know, those numbers that go down, like that was going in and beyond and into my body. And I was like twitching and doing all this like mudras with my hands. And just all of a sudden I started to talk.
I woke up and I see just like, I'm like, what's happened to my teacher? Is she okay? She's broken. And then I'm like in and out of consciousness, because what happens is, you know, you guys know when you get like a major download where you go blackout, like nothing, you're just gone and they're working on you. It was like, it was in and out of that. So then I went out again, and then I started hearing these sounds. I was like, what am I hearing? But I couldn't open my eyes. And it was Carolina channeling this language, and that was, again, that was the integration of being at the site without having even gone into the site. So this was already like 24 hours in. We're just like, wow, we got 9 days here. This is just gonna get crazy.
I was thinking, holy shit, what's gonna happen? So I just started to do this language and I'm channeling, and then I was like, oh my God, I'm channeling, and then it stopped. I said, oh, how interesting. Okay, I got to go back here. So the channeling came from the back of the brain and into my spine and body, and it felt wonderful. Although I was doing all kinds of stuff, but the moment I judged it, it stopped. And then I said, oh, okay. So I was being taught how to do it. So, okay. So then when I put myself out here, it started to come again. And I was thinking, okay, what the heck? And the language was like a weird language, but it was not light language that I've heard ever before.
It's a
Because
dialect.
it was a dialect. It was freaking Egyptian. It was Emotep that I was channeling. And they were putting, he was the one who built the red pyramids, said AnnaLynne. I did not know that. I thought he was
the step pyramid, yeah.
The step pyramid. And
the only thing I was guided 2 things. Carolina's gonna know everything. On your birthday, go to Saqqara. Those are the 2 things I was guided. Otherwise, I didn't ask for anything. That was all that I was guided to say in regards to our trip. And Carolina's like, I don't know anything. I've never been there. I'm like, yes, you do. Shut up. I was like,
I know, that's why you said that. Oh my God. It's so weird. And everything was like divinely freaking perfect. It was like insane. Okay. So I did all that. I had from Mary, I had gotten a ceremony that I was supposed to do. We did it before the pyramid, but I also did it in the bottom of the pyramid. So this is what it was. I had to open my heart and channel my love to Seshat's necklace. She had a beautiful sapphire blue necklace. From her necklace, immediately it came back a code into my right shoulder right here. I had a program sitting here, like some friggin' thing.
Probably an implant that was activated or something.
Yeah, there was a program. So it went like this and then into my heart, and my heart opened and it started to pull all the fragments together and build a 3D Merkaba that I was in the whole time. Then it shot up into my third eye, my pineal gland, which opened up. I got the key code that was 6813 or something like that. And as I said that, the whole thing started. In my brain, opened up a giant pyramid of a huge diamond encoded with number 11. And as I did this, the necklace had been gifted to Seshat from her 12-dimensional Arcturian ancestors. So the codes are just like flying. And I was like, what? And then this whole thing opens up with this beautiful diamond in my brain. And I sat, when we were in, when I was flying to Paris to meet AnnaLynne, I wrote it out completely one more time because it was so crazy. 3816 was it to open the portal. And then it was complete. In Egypt, I will get further guidance. I'm tapping into all the information that I will need for the ascension process. So then the 5th dimensional opening is now granted. The mass exodus of those ready will now occur. So all this stuff I'm apparently initiating according to them. And as I did this ceremony inside the lowest part of the pyramid.
So she had to hike down about 300 feet. So at an angle like this, to the subterranean chamber, in a descension column that was about 3.5, 4 feet maybe in width. It's like so you are bent over, crawling, and basically laddering down for 300 feet. That's about 30 stories of a building. So a 30-foot building, a 30-story building. She was going down into the base
underneath the Grand Pyramid. It was me, AnnaLynne.
I went halfway down. I did a really great job, and then I saw that I had to go double the amount that I just went, and I was gonna have to hike back, and I was like, my quads won't last. No, thank you. Y'all have fun.
It doesn't work out. She couldn't walk for days. I was like, How can
I
you
could
think
walk
about that?
just literally from doing the King's Chamber and going halfway down, my legs were done for 3 days. If I had gone all the way down there, you guys would never see me again. I've been like, I would have looked up and I'm like, no, it's not happening. I could do any spiritual work in the world, but physical hiking, no, I did not sign up to do that in this lifetime. I have no interest. Like, so Carolina went down with the Minister of Antiquities that came. We had private access, but it was supervised by the minister from Antiquities, and obviously our
Do you
guide, Robbie.
understand?
So
Robbie, me, and the Minister of Antiquities. I mean, how the hell does this work? AnnaLynne rented a whole darn grand pyramid for us. Do you know how huge that thing is? Okay, I come down finally down the steps and I'm there. It's like basically like a big, just an opening. There's nothing there. It's like sand on the bottom. Then there's another hole we can look in and there's like water underneath.
very deep.
Very, very deep, goes down. And, you know, I had seen everything in that vision with my red eyes. I said, I even said to Rabbi before we left, I said, bring a red camera or something. And he's like, why do you want a red light switch camera? And I was like, I don't know. Anyway, but I had seen everything underneath. I come down there. First of all, the guys are shaking. They are sweating. They're freaking the freak out. And I'm just like, feel so at home. I just feel like this is freaking amazing. I was like, okay, boys, just let me do this ceremony. I call in all the directions. I call in, you know, all the archangels, the 12 star. I can't even talk today. There's so much energy coming in right now. So I call in everybody, do directions. I turn on the Reiki. And they are shaking and sweating. Their eyeballs are out to here. Even Rabbi looked a little like crazy. And the Minister of Antiquities, he's like, oh, I'm like, okay, it's okay. You just stay there. I'm going to do something. And I started to chant. And I just started to chant. I don't even know what I was chanting, but I was chanting. And we'll tell you more about that later. And then I'm like, okay, so the energy goes straight into my pineal gland. It's a sacred space into my pineal gland. I was like, now awaken all the beings. And I kept waving to the pyramid when we were there. Come on, old lady, let's turn you back on. And I saw gold and pink light, like the whole thing was turning on. I swear to God, there was so much energy. I mean, I was sitting on the ground, but I was kind of flying off the floor. And then it said, number 11 will assist me now to open the soul of humanity. The soul of humanity. I had to open. And then a very large diamond coated with the 12-dimensional crystal activation for humanity. The 3 grids of the humanity grids are now awakened. And then I said, at this point, human hearts will awaken. Human hearts, awaken now! I'm screaming down there and doing all these codes. And the 5th dimensional opening is now granted. The mass exodus has begun for those souls that are interested. And that means that you are ready and willing to ascend. You know, and you can even feel the energy coming on now. I'm just sitting there. And then I start to chant and I do this and that. And I do Reiki and I do Reiki on myself. And the guys are like looking at me like, what? Like, and I asked Rabbi, how many times have you been there? Because it looked like it was the freaking first time. He said, oh, thousands. I'm like, really? Doesn't look like that. I was thinking, do you guys want some Reiki or something? I said, they're like, yeah. So I go to one side where the energy was like, I was like flying like this. So I was like, whoa. And I wasn't even having a hard time to stand up. And it wasn't like when I went to the hospital and I was 10 feet tall. No, I was in my body, like grounded. And I started to do Reiki on them. And the guy, the antiquity guy, the Minister of Antiquities, he's like, what did you see? What did you see? And I was like, all I see is love. There is no difference. Everything is love. You are so loving. You're so lovely. You're wonderful. It's all love. And then Robbie, and then and then they just left.
So while this is all happening, I have gone back up to the kind of the plateau, like the platform area is in between where you go up to the king chamber or down to the subterranean chambers. And I've kind of laid out my sacred blanket and I started meditating. So I had a very individual journey that was also quite intense. The vibration inside that place for my little system was a lot. And I could sense how I was gonna easily become, I have a predisposition towards claustrophobia. So I was very proud of myself that I totally did all the things and like had a whole moment where I watched my foot, 1 foot at a time, 1 step at a time, and got halfway down. And then when I did look up, I wasn't claustrophobic. I was just like, I ain't hiking that. But I had a nice moment of facing what has been a lifelong fear of claustrophobia and I got guidance because I was like, I'm good to go. Like, I'm good to go down. And the guidance was clear. You faced the lesson we wanted you to experience. For the rest of your life, take 1 step at a time. Look at your feet. Don't look ahead, because what we're going to tell you to do is going to make you think exactly what you would think about claustrophobia. I can't do this. So don't look ahead. Look at the step you're taking and nothing further along. And it was a really powerful thing for me, the message of that. So that came when I had laid down and started to meditate. But what happened was I immediately like looked at my physiological state, and I could see that my hands were just like shaking. My system was very accelerated, heart rate, everything. So I did some very calming pranayama. I fully made sure I was in my body. And then I started to listen. And boy, did that pyramid have shit to say. I was hearing, do you understand why it's so easy for us to communicate while you're here? Do you understand how the veil doesn't exist? This is why we wanted you here. This is why and I just started getting personal information that I had needed to affirm things that I was questioning, was getting clarity. This all happened in a 20 to 25 minute period where I was able to have a really individualized moment with myself and this really powerful place. And then I hear 2 panting boys hightailing it up the hike. I'm like, why are we running? What's going on? I was just in meditation. I'm all like relaxed now and calm and ready to take on the King's Chamber and what we're doing next. And I just hear like, and the boys come up and they're like, hey, what's happening? And I was like, hi, I'm just here. And he's like, okay, we're gonna go to the King's Chamber now. And I was like, is everybody gonna be okay?
I freaked them out. Sure.
They were like, they saw the goddess.
Like, yeah, they were like, what the heck? We kept joking because we were thinking, oh, it's such a joke, these 2 blondies coming to Egypt. And then when I freaking started to go into that pyramid, first I was nervous too, like my heart was like that. And and I never been, I've been in crawl spaces before, graves and all that stuff, like Viking graves, and it's not very comfortable. And plus you can scrape your back. But anyway, all of a sudden I just shift into like, I just switched into friggin' Seshat mode. And I just like, boom. I was like, no doubt. I was like, oh my God, I'm so peaceful. I love it. I'm under the freaking pyramid here. And they ran up. I was basically there by myself. I was like, all right, I guess I better go up then. And I was like, I closed my cycle. I said, thank you, pyramid. I blessed everybody that was there. I blessed all the beings. They're afraid. Actually, my kids told me that the Trey or something like that, some rapper dude was going to have a concert. Travis. Yeah, exactly. Was going to have a concert close to the pyramids. But he said he couldn't do it because there's so many spirits there. And there is. It is not a joke. That's what he meant with the energy. That energy will take you. It will take you. Luckily, we were right in the center of the chaos. Remember how I'm teaching that all the time? That the change card, that was what happened. And it was like total peace. So anyway, we go up that hill. It was a lot. I was like sweating bullets too, because it was a lot. And they just ran. I was like, all right, well, thank you, everybody, all the guides. angels, teachers, masters, whatever, Egyptian pharaohs and whoever's here. There was so much, but it was like beyond. So we come up and we go into the king's chamber. Wow, do you feel the energy just flying forward now? Okay, so we go up into the king's chamber, which is not a small hike either. So we're in the queen's chamber, which is just kind of like an area. It's not even anything. It's just an area, right? And then we go up to the king's chamber, which is like a huge room. And the sound quality there is insane. Then there is a sarcophagus, which is just a box. It's the initiation box, you know. And I just, can I jump in first? I was like all fired up. So I jumped in for a little bit and I started chanting. And AnnaLynne was sitting holding space and she did her singing bowl. I didn't hear anything. All of a sudden there were like the weirdest tones coming out of my body. Like I could sing. I was like a freaking opera singer. And I'm going to show you the sounds. It was very strange. It was a lot of vibration and it was so beautiful there. Then I get out and then AnnaLynne goes in and I start to do some bowl and I'm hearing her and she's chanting. It sounds like angelic. Yes. Oh yeah.
The resonance and the way it reverberates is unbelievable. It's a sound healing chamber what they built.
Move it away from the thing, maybe a little bit. Yeah. You can't really hear it, AnnaLynne.
Okay, we'll send you an edited version of the thing. So basically you hear this sound, multiple layers of one voice, like as if you re-recorded over backup tracks, like 10 backup tracks, because it's all granite and you've got unfathomable granite slabs that are single pieces that make up the ceiling and the walls. And they're, 12 feet, 20 feet across, a single red granite slab after red granite slab. And then the sound is made to create wave patternings in your brain. So they hit at the hertz level that drops you into basically theta delta state. So you start to alter it. It starts to alter your consciousness. So when I was laying there looking up at the ceiling, I started seeing the ceiling just morph into faces, into these different things. And then all of a sudden everything stopped and then it all disappeared. And then I heard, "Do you see how you're doing this yourself?" And it was this moment of like, this is what we're capable of. If we know the right activations, if you know the correct questions to ask, the answer comes immediately, right? So if you know the correct activations, sound, resonance, hertz, vibration, if you tap into those at the right pot space, you have the power to fully alter your perception of existence and reality, to the extent that what you experience there is a really heightened version of it, where you literally see faces in a ceiling that aren't there and you aren't on LSD. Like, it's just the sound. It was just, this is a place that they built and they would go to heal the programming of the mind by taking it all away and allowing the sound, the wave patterns. Because when I laid down in that thing, I could feel, it was almost like I could just feel waves moving in and out of my temples and through my brain. And I was just like, you start to lose your ability to make coherent sense. Like, I mean, you couldn't try to talk appropriately if you try. Like, it's just overwhelming, the way the red granite, which has a radioactive quality. So you're inside what used to be an insulated electric limestone, then the interior has radioactive red granite. So the energy is pulsating and interacting with radioactivity and electrical output, and the way that works with our energetic bodies, the ancient Egyptians had tapped into and knew how to harness, and cultivated this space that people could pilgrimage to, the pharaohs could pilgrimage to, and get these downloads and these healings. Because even with, like, as you're going, you crawl through to go into the chamber, and they talk about that's an initiation of bowing to the healing, like that you are not standing upright, you're giving honor to it by bowing yourself. And there's a divot where you can stand up right before you go into the king's chamber, that's an open space, and they have waved divots in the red granite. There's like, how did they melt red granite? Like, hello. But
They melted it.
you can put your forehead up against it, and the divot will echo the sound of a deep resonance. So like a man's voice, especially, the Ministry of Antiquity was showing us that he could, and we would just like hear his in every part of our, not just our ears, but like our whole body was taking in the sound. It makes you really porous to sound, and therefore very open to healing
And vibration.
Yeah, it was like
You're so articulate. I love that you're helping to explain this, because it was so, I had all of a sudden the Hathors come in and chant through my body. And AnnaLynne was like, what the who?
I kept trying to
Where'd
figure
Carolina
out.
go? She said.
I was like, it was too low of a resonance to be Carolina, but it was too high to be a man. And there were only two men and me and Carolina. And I was like, who is here doing this sound? But I wasn't trying to get out of the sarcophagus, because the waves patterns was so amazing. So I'm just listening, and I'm like going in and out of consciousness, and I'm like, where's Carolina? Who's using her? That's not her voice. It was such an interesting sound that came out of her voice.
So they instructed me, you have to put your tongue in the upper palate to make a full circuit in my whole body. And then the sounds that came out, I can even sing that high or that low, but I'm going to try with the microphone and see if we can play a little bit of it. Do you guys want to hear again?
Yeah. You have the recording too, right?
Yeah, as you gave it to me. Thank you. She secretly recorded the whole thing.
I did. Cut out for a second. Where did it go? It was there for a second, then it went.
Oh, it was. Wait.
Come back.
Can you hear it now? No.
It was
what
there.
The heck? Maybe we're not supposed to. Things like that have been happening a lot.
Yeah, and then she shut down the electricity of the whole city.
Okay.
That's
so anyway, can you not hear this? Let me try to take this.
No, I'll edit the part where you're doing it and send it to everybody.
Yeah, I'll send it. Yeah, we'll edit it. You can hear this.
Hear that. Whew, so much energy with that. I mean, even just the little bit that is there, you can imagine that sound came out of her. That's Carolina.
So I was like, oh, yeah, we have to send it to you. I mean, I'm like flying right now. This is so
I'm
powerful.
flying right now listening to that, but yeah. We'll edit out because we recorded just the whole time you're there, so you hear talking and movement too. So we'll edit that stuff out and get just the sound. So
And then both of the guys, they were just snoring, sleeping. They just passed out.
that like, so that's when I knew that it had to be Carolina, because then I heard two men snoring. So I was like, there's only one other person here. I was like, oh my God, this is Carolina. So crazy.
It was so wild. And then we came out and we were just like, what the heck? The sun has set. But you know, you don't even understand how much energy it is just to enter even on the one block. I mean, is it like 500 million pounds or something we're under? Yeah, the energy was like insane. So then we came out and
well, when I got out of Carolina went back into the box for a little bit longer. I got out and I had an entire walk-in situation happen, which I was guided was supposed to happen in the weeks prior, that I was doing all this like liquid diet and all this preparation for what was supposed to happen. And I was being guided that my spirit was going to leave my body. And I've obviously astral projected a million times, but this was an OBE. So at a certain point, and it was when she started doing the Hathors and I started to lose like my sense of space and time. And I had to fully ask all of my cells to release attachment to my spirit form and trust what the process was going to be. And we had a couple of our little sisters over here that are in LA, and they were meditating together at the exact same time that we were in the pyramid to hold kind of, because one of them has she and I have a really strong link. So they were holding space for this to take place. And I felt myself like trying to leave, but then I was still kind of attaching and holding on because I was a little bit afraid, I think. And then I heard, just step out of your heart chakra and stand on your own chest. And I know how to do that from astral travel. So I did that, but then I was fully out. And then I turned and I literally just kissed my own forehead and then I went. And I felt this light vibration, which I've felt a million times of like Sirius, when I call it Sirian energy from Sirius star system. And it slid from the right into my body, from the right to the left. I could see it even as we're talking. That's the way I saw it in there. And it was just this white light being that is now, to the extent that before I integrated yesterday, like I've still been referring to me as AnnaLynne. And I've been saying I've been saying, I am watching AnnaLynne do these things. I'm like, which one am I? Oh, this is so confusing. So I got a really beautiful gift to be able to hold more compassion, more of this higher vibrational light. And when I stood up, Carolina was right there. And all of a sudden I just felt this pillar of light going like this. And I just started like speaking to her. And I don't even know anything that was said out of my mouth because it wasn't me, but it was this new vibration being held in my body. And then I got out of there and it was like, do not break eye contact was one of the major things. We're sending codes. The codes come through the eyes send codes. We're sending codes through the eyes, keep lock eye contact, like missile lock. So missile locked on. And then they guide me to go over to these two men who I've known for all of about, 24 minutes or 24 hours. And I'm like, you are, and I'm like sending all this information to these boys. And the one doesn't even speak any English at all. So I'm just like literally guided to do telepathic transmission. And
crying.
He starts crying and like all this stuff is happening. And I'm sending so much information and they're showing me so much about both of these young men. And it was just very clear the power of eye contact that we do not do. We're so told in this world, don't stare, don't let kids look at you. They look at you and they keep your eyes. We all look away. And the codes come through the eyes. This is how we connect. And this is how we make our deep psychic telepathic communication connections with our humans, with our fellow humans. So I was hearing that that was a really powerful part of activation for me too. And I noticed I have zero shame now. Shame will stop you from looking in people's eyes too. And I stare people down, and they're kind of like, they kind of want to look away, but they're also kind of like fixated. And I was like, something happened. I'm like, this is crazy, because I've been trying it out on random people just because I do shit like that. So they're kind of like the Starbucks person's like, okay, I'll get you your tea. Why are you looking at me like this? So the power in that for you guys, maybe to like ask inside yourself, you know, how can I send more coded energy through my eyes to my friends and family, and kind of it creates a meditative communications form versus just kind of talking. And that was really that when I integrated that, I got a lot of understanding of why that's so important and why it's been flushed out of our society and our culture for so many years, because the power there is that we connect back to the collective consciousness when we do that with each other, which it really elevates the vibration of our experience as humans to have solid eye contact. And it's, you'll notice it's like uncomfortable until it's not. But what stops the discomfort, I would notice before, was when I would send love to the person I was talking to. So if I was like, I'm sending little heart bubbles of love out of my eyeballs, I used to do that to whenever I would do eye to eye contact. But this is just natural and feels like, for me, natural, and for the people who are looking at me, not so natural. But that was that we quickly, I got the exact same message about the Ministry of Antiquity that Carolina had said to him down there. I literally just started telling him, you are made of love. You are love. That is all that you are. You are love. You are nothing less. You are love. And he was just crying. He didn't understand what I said. He actually had to be translated later by Robbie, but he knew what I was saying because the messages, the codes were coming to him. So we got a really strong download that we were placed in that chamber with two divine masculines as two divine feminines. And it was a real exercise on behalf of all of our fellow light workers, sisters and brothers that are trying to, harness this vibration for Gaia to elevate to that divine masculine feminine space, that we were supposed to be doing this practice. This exercise was supposed to happen. And it was supposed to be with these two young men who are really intentional and really like beautifully capable of holding both masculine, like Egyptian man energy, which has definitely got its masculine side.
Oh yeah.
And this really gentle, like caring, protective, sacred masculine energy. So there was that became, that night set the tone and the theme for what would follow.
And there is more to come. Like a lot more. Okay, so that was like the introduction.
Yeah, that was just, day two.
We can do more stories here, but what we learned just in that second day, yes, Robbie was right. The energy there speaks so powerfully. Okay. And you remember how I used to say in my classes, I don't know which one, maybe all of them, who knows, but I used to say, we have to remember our gifts. Remember, we have to remember our gifts. Well, Rabbi's, he said, it's all about remembrance. I was like, that's what I usually say. So, but it was, and I remembered the life. I would say, oh my God, this is where, and I had told AnnaLynne about it, but it was kind of like when we were walking around and I was doing the dishes and I was like, oh, by the way, I had this vision. I was walking in these palm trees. I think I was in Egypt and I had these bangles on, and you were there like a little kid or a boy. I think it was you. It sounds like you're.
She kept saying to me, she's like, you remember when you were there? And I was like, no, I don't remember any of this. I'm glad that you remember it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I came there and I just didn't have any expectations whatsoever. And I was like, oh my God, those are the palm trees over there on the other side. That's where I was walking.
She was describing like the entrance, the rituals coming in on the boat with such vivid detail that I was like, I mean, either your imagination is well beyond any 5-year-old I've ever met, or you have definitely been here before, because it was like, it was so, and she kept saying, don't you remember? And I was like, I love you so much. I am so happy to hear all this from you. I don't remember what you're saying. I was born in
but it was
Atlanta,
like,
Georgia.
they were there. And I was like, don't you remember this? And it was like the tea, the smells, the incense, the myrrh, what I was wearing, and this white outfit with these big necklaces. And then we had tea, and they had these fruit platters, and all the workers or the slaves there, they were not slaves. They were not at all. There was an honor to be there, and they had this like really high vibration, like everybody was on board in a sense. And, we came in on this boat. I couldn't even see the carpet how it was laid out when we got off the boat. And it was like so weird and wonderful at the same time. It's like thinking, wait, is this imagination? Is this real? What's happening? So it's very much like that, but it was crystal clear, like no big deal. And then all of a sudden I started to tell Robbie about, Owen is around, what was it that I said? I said several things like,
yeah, she would ask things, then he would confirm a lot of the stuff that that was coming through to her. It was like, oh yeah, that's, this, and that's this happened at this time period, and this and that. And she was, just getting it coming through, and she would see symbols and know what they meant without knowing what they meant. And I think the main thing is that individually, if you're going to have, I mean, we laughed and joked. We made a video when we were arriving. It was like, well, goodbye, we're coming back as something else. Like, we were just kind of teasing, but it was actually true, because the people that got on the planes on July 10th were not the people who returned on July 20th. And there's an invitation for those of us who are doing this work, and those of us who are called to that place, and it may be different places, but that one by far is so profound, that there's a you that's waiting for you to meet. and it's on the shores of the East Bank, and you're going to go to the West Bank where they have the dead, and you're going to leave a part of you there that it'll never return, and you're going to come back with a new part of you that you never knew was you. And I think that I can't imagine a human being living and dying on this planet and not visiting that country like that. If you have ever played or felt or thought small, go to Egypt and look and see what we're capable of, because this is what we can do. This is what we can do. This is what we can create. When you walk next to those pillars and you look at those obelisks and you look up at those pyramids, and you see they always say, Robbie said that the archaeologists and Egyptologists say, people fear time and time fears the pyramids. The ability to look at something that represents what the no time, the timelessness of existence actually is. That's what it's there for. It's to show you that you are always and never. You are nothing and everything, and you are capable of more than you can possibly fathom. Because if individuals could create what you see when you are there and what you feel when you walk on those lands, then you are playing small if you're doing anything less. And stop it. Stop second guessing your power. Stop second guessing who and what you are, who and what you were. Stop questioning it. Stop, just be it. And who cares what you think, they think, you think. No one thinks about you as much as you think about you. So decide how you want to feel about you, and live up to it. And also know this, that every time you second guess you are giving points to the other vibration that's coming after the light. So don't give points away to the other team.
That's a good point.
Don't put a basketball in the other hoop,
it's true.
Score for your own team. The light needs you to know how powerful you are, because only in your knowing is it realized. that's the iteration of existence that we're stepping into. We can't think and play small anymore. It's
We don't have
kept
time.
us
We don't have time.
underground for
Yeah.
all of this time. We need to be like the pyramids. We need to be above ground, representing the vibration that's coming up from beneath. That's definitely as above, so below, as within, so without, as the soul, so the universe, right? But that was my major takeaway, was that this pilgrimage is that it's a pilgrimage, and it's not a vacation, as Trisha said.
You were
It's-
working hard,
work.
baby.
It's
It's
work. Like, I would like to go lay at the beach now, because that was like a job. But it was profound. It was beautiful. It was confronting. It was scary. It was exciting. It was exhilarating. It was all the things. It was the human experience in 10 days, and going through life, death, and rebirth with the most remarkable geometry and sacred shapes that just code your body the second you see them, and then everything else happens. So that was my major takeaway.
Yeah. And I love that part. If you think you want to play small, AnnaLynne said this, then go to Egypt and realize how incredible we are. And then also remember how I used to say, you are the ascended master that you have been looking for. That was confirmed 1000%.
100%.
AnnaLynne always says that. 1000%.
1000%.
I love it. So, I mean, I think we have to do another one of these little things to share.
Yeah, we only covered the pyramid. We went to Dendara. We went to Abydos, the oldest pilgrimage site on the planet. We went to Karnak. We went to Luxor. We went to so many other step pyramids, the Seraphi, which, by the way, that could be a whole session of itself. These are 75,000 to 150,000 pound, 9-10 foot sarcophagus for bulls that had no bulls in them.
No
evidence of bulls
sarcophagi.
These are made of solid granite. They look like chambers that held beings who were transporting. They were like,
I heard also look, this is when we came out of the pyramid. This is the sunset. We're standing on the pyramid. There are the guys downstairs. By the way, wherever we went, there are guards, and you can't be like a believer or a worshiper, because that's illegal, because
the country's
Muslim guns following us everywhere. It was like crazy. Okay.
Yeah, they kept tattletelling on us.
Yeah, they kept tattletelling. Wait, what am I looking for? Is this the right direction?
That's my birthday. So yeah, here we are.
Yeah, that's your birthday. What am I looking for again? Oh yeah, these guys. There were 26 of these under the earth. Look here. That's it. Under there. And that pyramid is one that has been, this is what we got too. This is the Seshat's, one of hers. She had 40 pyramids that were broken down because they had so much energy that they would destroy the earth several times if that energy was.
Will you stop sharing for 1 second? I'm going to give them a reference.
Yeah.
The thing that you're looking at right now, that's me standing next to them. Yeah, that's little tiny me standing next to those things. They don't fit through the door. Like they don't fit. If you took the wall off, they don't fit through the wall. They're massive. And they were all empty, including one that was sealed shut. And they were like, haha, this one hasn't been looted, which was what they claimed. And they dynamited it, and it was completely empty. The only thing that's in it is the dynamited corner of it. Like these were chambers, like we were seeing, like in our mind's eye, like we were seeing ships under the ground everywhere there. We were feeling the vibration of ship energy. And those things look like they if you wanted to move yourself somewhere and like kind of dematerialize and rematerialize, with stuff in a secure container, you would create something that big so you could bring stuff back with you. That's what that's the only thing that was coming through to me, was like, these are like chambers to like, they're made of this radioactive granite. It's very specific material. It's to create a higher vibrational resonance, a lower density. Everything is about reducing density and raising the vibration. So, but that, like, you walk through that, and our guide, he said, for everyone who talks about the mystery of the pyramid, that's the above ground. For me, the underground version of the pyramids is, what is this? What are these? There's 26 of them. They don't make any sense. And then like, you're just, your brain is just like, huh? It's unfathomable. So yeah, there's so much more that we experienced, and these hidden chambers. And Robbie has personal relationships. He's literally like the mayor of everywhere. And he has like these really personal relationships with all of these different individuals at all the different sites. So they like secretly take you into chambers you're not allowed to go in, places that are kind of not allowed to the public. So we got these really beautiful private experiences constantly at different sites, which would never have happened if we didn't have this beautiful guide. So that was cool too.
And it was like weird. Wherever we went, it was like empty. It was like we had the whole Egypt to ourselves. And then the guides would open all these doors. We were like, okay. And we would go in there. It was like, it was something else. It was incredible. And even, when we saw Sekhmet, and we had a special, incredible room that this guy, where Robbie, our guy, didn't see it, invited us to go. And Robbie was like, really? I don't go there, he said. It was a special room with the Hathors.
That was the Dendara. Yeah.
In the temple of Dendara, like we had to slide ourselves in. You can't walk. Yeah. You had to slide yourself in. We were crawling on our knees in these pitch black areas. You didn't even understand. It was like.
And this is a common theme throughout, and it's clearly on purpose. It's very intentional that you are putting your physical body into states that show humbling, show humility, show respect and reverence. And the temples are designed to have basically life, birth, death, but they start with complete darkness. So if you go into the Holy of Holies, the furthest back, at the very start is the very back, and it's complete darkness. Then they have, from the time of antiquity, channels in the ceiling to create this cascading light for what they call semi-light. So the next iteration of existence. Then they have full light coming in to the next layer and then they have open courtyards. So like complete, like outdoor light. And they designed this way with the intention that you experience each level of light to your level of ascension. So you are becoming enlightened as you go through the experience of just being in the temple. Every single thing is so intentional. It's incredible. And the way that you have to go, these hidden sacred chambers are literally like, it was only ever designed to be crawled through. That, like, unless you're a 2.5 foot tall person, like you're always supposed to crawl through these places. And that is an initiation in and of itself, because it makes you fold your body and humble yourself to go into this space. It sets the tone for where you're going and the sacredness of what you're about to experience. So it was just like, you're really, it's the epitome of integrative lesson learning.
Yeah, it's the real deal. And I was thinking I wanted to bring people there with AnnaLynne, maybe even in January. But I'm thinking, if we're bringing somebody that isn't even initiated into Reiki, forget about it. They got at least have had
Reiki wide open. It'll blow them.
Yeah, they won't be able to. And even my friend said, I just wanted to show the I wanted to share one more picture, but you know, you can get really, really sick there. If you haven't, you know, figured yourself out, you can actually get very, very sick. And especially, we were shown privately, luckily. What's her name again? The cat? I'm so spacey. I am so spacey.
There's
Can't keep
so
it
much
together.
energy. Sekhmet.
Sekhmet, you know, Sekhmet, she eats all the evil out of you and she can digest it. And she's the ultimate Kalima, I would say, representation of ancient India here.
Oh,
So here she is. So we got to open this door. Actually, I got to open the door, and AnnaLynne let me open the door. And then we went there and we stood there. This room, people could even go
double click that picture of you, because I know
Which
you won't just do it automatically.
this one?
The one where you're standing in front,
Oh,
that one.
you took this one, yeah.
I love that picture.
Yeah, it's a good one. So AnnaLynne took this. So this is her, and she's tall, you know, but I felt like I was almost as tall as her. She gave me a total initiation there, and you could feel it. I was slightly scared, but I was humbled. And then I decided, oh, I'm going to give her Reiki back, because she gives, everybody comes with their bullshit to her and they just pile it on her. So I said, I'm going to give you some Reiki. I said to her, you know, all of a sudden you talk to these statues in your head. That is also a very interesting thing that happens. And she just blasted me, and she did put a future program into one part of my side, my left lung, that we will start to use later in a later time. So part of her was inside of my lung, I guess, now in a positive thing. This statue is powerful. Ravi said that she also can evoke like anger. And through the anger, rage, you can start to awaken. Go ahead, AnnaLynne.
If you have unresolved anger, it'll come up.
Yeah. But we didn't have
sacred anger, sacred rage.
Sacred anger, yeah. So can you guys feel the energy from this? Yeah, it's powerful, and it's cleansing and clearing. And it took guts to stand there. I mean, I had clothes on, but I was naked. It was sister to sisterhood right there.
You're just inundated. Your body, your physiological state, your mind is inundated with stuff. And it shows the importance of like talisman, to have like really important items that you infuse your energy into, that you infuse sacred, ceremonial, vibrational energy into. And that's really, it stands the test of time, because those things have been there for thousands of years, and they still hold the resonance of the people who built and intended for them to be these vibrational kind of beacons, in a way that the intention with which we create, the intention with which we dedicate something, it holds itself within that item, and these are just as alive, even though they're inanimate, as if you were standing there in front of a lion. Like there's that energy is there, and it interacts with you if you're open and willing to listen and take in what's coming to you. So that was another thing, to be like, I'm now like, everywhere I go now, I'm more intentional with like, hello, Starbucks bricks, like, you know, like, oh, you don't have a lot to offer. But like there are, like, you know, everywhere you go, there's, you know, talking to the trees, so the things that have been here for a while, you can have that experience too. And it's like, that's another takeaway I had, is just like, they check in with your surroundings and see what's locked inside the walls, inside the, you know, sometimes you want to clear it out. So check in and make sure that it's something you want that's there.
Clear it out, yeah. And Rosemary, she was especially, I would love to do a Zoom with you, because when we did the Kriya, which is the energy of the earth, part of that class, we did even just plant cleansing, and how we had that ceremony. And you know, it was powerful, right, Rosemary? So she understands that now too.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah. Anyway, I think this is the perfect. Yeah,
Did you
yeah,
use, do you know if you used Om Arya Kriya Shakti I Namaye? Did that come up for you while you were there?
It did not. But
Okay,
it is
interesting.
in my body. It is. It was what came out of me. I don't even know. I understand words.
You
because
you
all
did
the
do it when you did the ceremony for me before the pyramid. You did use it at the hotel.
I didn't even remember that. Thank you, Rosemary, for reminding me.
Interesting, the infinityness of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have any other questions?
Well, I'm so ready for, I would love to hear more about it. Just the pictures of you all going down the Nile. You know, I don't know why that was, you know, that was like a thing. I was like, oh, wow. I frankly felt like I could feel the waves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the water has such a vibration there. The water is so next level
Nile,
for any water body I've ever felt.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to hear more, and I'm delighted to hear how clear everything was for you all, and anxious to understand without, I don't care how this sounds, it's just going to come out of my mouth. I am anxious to try and understand what your trip means for us as fellow light workers. Do you know?
Yeah.
it means that it's on, and everything that you know, everything that you thought, everything that you feel, it's real. Things that you wish for, even in your own life, it's not random that you wish for it. You wish for it because it's about to be yours, but you just have to go through that portal and grab it. You must believe in yourself. You must know that you have the power and really step through the threshold. Do it. Yeah, it might be scary and it might feel awkward, but wouldn't you want to be the one that initiates you into what you are instead of some circumstance? Because it's on, and you guys, if you're here, even if you even had even a yoga class that we had together or something like that, it's all a web. It's all
Yeah,
there. And
it's
that's
a web.
yeah.
It's a web, and it's a wonderful question, Rosemary, because the ripples will be felt throughout, but there's something to bear in mind, that all of us signed up for Carolina.
Oh.
So there's a level of ripple, and we're the next ring. We're the first ring out. And that's something for you, each of you, and for myself to not play small on. There's a reason that we're the little inner sanctum around Carolina, because of what we have within ourselves. Like we have to be at a certain level to have that connection, and she has to be at a certain level to do what she's doing, and then the ripple out. And there are other people in groups like this doing what we're doing right here around the world, holding that in the different geographic locations that are strategic for this ascension process. But if we're all here, there is a reason, and it's like, you know, there's that wonderful 7 number of us on the phone right now, and it's a 7-year, and it was the 777 portal. My birthday was on a 777 day, like the heaven to earth energy. So that is a beautiful question, because why are you here this close to this connection point with this much being, you know, transpired and transmuted and alchemized? So that's a reflection of you, actually, and what you're here to do and bring, and the power that you hold within yourself. That's my take on it too.
That's brilliant, actually, because like, even if it's just in yoga class, like I am the teacher, but I'm the student number one because you guys are all my teachers too. So it is this really unity, consciousness, and love. Like we have to see everything within everyone. Like I see you guys clearly, but I too have to look at me. And that's important because if I don't look at me and believe in me, which is a little hard sometimes, but I'm making the connection more and more, there's a smaller gap. Then if I can hold that and be that, then if I can fully embody who I am in this body, in this lifetime, because this is the most important one, it's not the other ones, right? But they can have information for us. Then my children and my students and all of you can also step in who you are, right? So thank you for being my teachers in that, and especially AnnaLynne, who's whooping my ass all the time now.
Yay!
Got her back.
So happy.
So
I yell at her.
happy.
I'm like, you know, you could just like cut this out and just accept who you are and just shut up. And she's like, I'm trying. But it's, you know, I mean, I'm an actress, so I'm so grateful to have that programming because I just fake it till I make it. I'm like, if I'm guided that I am something, I have a little bit of resistance at first and second guessing myself because of, you know, hashtag self-worth issues, but don't we all? And then I'm like, wait a second, I'm just gonna act like I'm this character of this person they told me I am. And then I start forgetting that I wasn't that to begin with. And now I'm like, oh, I'm it. Okay, I'm good. I got this. And there's a power in it.
Yeah.
There's a
Fake
power
it until you make it. I love that.
Fake it till you make it. Like that's my little 2 cents worth.
Cindy, how are you, darling?
Oh, we can't hear you. Muted, I think.
Yeah, you're still muted, love. Still can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
So I had to miss the majority of things because I was playing Dr. Heel, only
Oh.
as seen on TV, along with the real doctor doctoring my mom. But when I realized I really needed to set the phone down was the same time Carolina was telling me to turn off my screen. So I set it next to my mom really quietly. And she has been on a wild ride today. And she calmed down and she ate an apple and she waited for the doctor and she let us do anything to her. So if we don't know we're powerful and good, I just reaffirmed that we are. Because when dementia patients have like bladder infections and stuff, they're nuts. And she is just totally chill right now.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just interesting because I was going to set it in her bedroom and I thought, I turned it down almost as low as it goes. I'm going to just set it next to her. And she changed while you guys were talking.
Wow. Oh.
And she knew I became involved with all you guys a year before my mom had a stroke. So she knew about you all, but she didn't understand a thing. But I used to do my really bad imitation of Carolina's voice that AnnaLynne does a lot better than me. To tell her that I was talking to Carolina, I would say, I'm talking to Carolina. And she would say, oh, okay. And so that was just the crazy. It's not crazy. It's just reaffirming everything I think we're doing this for. And I've been following the pictures along on Instagram, including sharing them with all kinds of people. So I think that's what we're meant to do. Because it's so much better when you can say, this is my friend. Look what they went and did. Look what they saw. It rather than it being like National Geographic.
Right.
And the doctor who did the house call, he said, well, I've seen that all on TV. And I said, oh no, this was way different. When you can watch your friends walk down into something with someone filming them and they're whispering, it's just amazing.
That's so cool.
Hopefully you'll do that with us in January.
We'll see. And now I have to listen again. I'm the reason it was recorded, I guess.
Yeah, you and many others. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do it again. Yeah, it was so wonderful. And I'm so glad that your mom felt our energy because we did say a prayer for her.
Oh, well, thank you.
And you and your
Well,
husband. Yeah, because I saw him too. So yeah, and it's not a separation.
no,
It's very real. Like your mom, my mom's getting older, it's all these cycles. Yeah, it's tough, but it's also depending on how do you want to see it? How can you use this vibration? Use this
well,
positive.
one thing I thought that was really neat about you guys really being good about videoing everything and posting it was we kind of felt like we were there because we knew when you left, roughly when you were coming home, how long it was to fly. So it made us feel like we were on a journey.
Yay.
Yay. Well, I posted.
So thank you.
I don't even know what I posted. I just posted something because I just wanted to. I was thinking about you guys, and I was thinking about my husband, my kids, and my kids want to look at the video, so they might have seen it. Not, so thank you, thank you, thank you. And there's like I'm thinking I barely posted anything. So
Yeah, we have a lot more to share, that's for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I get to drive and go buy more first aid supplies, so I'll keep listening, but I'm gonna make myself invisible again.
Okay. Love you so much.
Love you,
Bye.
Cindy.
All right, so let's just close because I think this was a big transmission. So I think that is a good idea just to bring our hands together like this. And this is a beautiful mudra, Namaskarasana, which you could feel the heat in your hands. You could feel your right hand touching, holding, connecting with your left hand. And you can experience and feel your left hand receiving your right hand, making that divinely perfect, aligned connection where we balance the right and the left. And through that balancing, that's where we can step through into this higher knowing, this higher remembrance, and seal it in and really connect into who we are. So whenever you bring your hands together in Namaskarasana, know that this is the most powerful mudra. And when you balance your hands, receiving, giving, giving, receiving, you balance your brain halves, you balance your left and right side of your body, you balance your duality. You balance that which is right and wrong. And then you consider both. You can hold both with no judgment. You balance the black and white, the yes and no. And you find that sharp clarity walking the spiritual path. It takes integrity. It takes courage. It takes a sense of adventure. It takes a curiosity. It takes playing, but it also takes that energy of integration and deep knowing, deep remembrance, and still cutting through the bullshit, right? Cutting through the illusion, humbly, sweetly, but with the biggest force, your knowing, your longing, your path. You have to walk your path yourself, together with all of us. It's together, we hold each other, but you are the one that has to do this work. And know that you can. And that's why you are here. Shanti, Shanti, Shantihi. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Peace, peace, peace. Love, love, love. I love you, love you, love you. Thank you, beautiful ones. Love you so much. Thank you, AnnaLynne. Thank you, everyone.
It was awesome. Thank you.